Episode number 241 with Steve and Daniel. Welcome to In It to Win It. I am your host, Steve Barton, and I am here again with Daniel Garcia. Daniel, thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve. Always good, always great to visit, and thank you very much for having me, man.
Yes. This week, we're going to be going over some real estate 101, and you and I are by no means experts, but
Absolutely not.
We've learned something along the way. You know, we've bought and sold some properties, and you know, I feel like we can add a lot of value to some guys that are maybe looking to get their own place or maybe a rental, and just kind of some of the basics and ins and outs of that, getting loans, you know, just
trials and tribulations.
Yes. Yes.
The stupid stuff I did. Or
yes.
didn't do.
The mistakes we made and how you can avoid them.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't do what I say, not what I do.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, well, again, yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. Yeah, doing very good. Better than Jack Ma. He went missing. I was kind of interesting news. I don't know if I'd be buying any Alibaba stock right now. I guess he spoke out against the CCP. He's been missing for 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nobody's seen Jack Ma.
So don't talk bad about the communist government, huh?
No. The Chinese Nazis. No, do not talk out against them. You will become Jack Ma.
Really? And by Jack Ma, we're just gone.
Yeah, he just hasn't been seen in 2 months. He started speaking out against them, some regulation stuff. And yeah, he's nowhere to be found.
Huh, shocking.
Yeah. So doing better than him.
Yeah. Lessons learned.
Yeah.
He won't make that mistake again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he'll be here to make that mistake.
Oh, he's been gone.
Yeah. He's just kind of checked out for a while, you know.
Yeah. He's
permanently
with the Angels. He's not.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, what's the stock price like? Is that a good buy then? Did it take a shit?
Yeah, you know what? I actually haven't looked at it lately. I just kind of probably want to avoid that for a while. Don't know who's really taking that over. So, yeah, I'm not going to say it's a buy, but, you know, to each their own.
Yeah.
At will,
yeah.
you know, well, I guess it's better than the delisted, Chinese stocks, I guess, right now, right? The China Mobile, which we do have some of that. So that was but fortunately we can still sell it, right?
Yeah, we can. I made a couple phone calls on that, made sure that we're stuck with this thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I've had an interesting week at work. The whole for you new listeners, I'm a fire captain with Oxnard Fire Department, and so you know,
kitty catcher.
A what?
The kitty catcher.
The kitty catcher. Yes. Kitty retriever from trees.
Yeah, the kitty retriever. You know, I got it stuck up in the tree. You call Steve.
Yep. I'm your man.
Yeah.
And COVID has just been rampant. You know, we normally run probably 60% of our calls are medical. You know, my station averages about 10 calls in a 24-hour shift, and
wow,
we've you know, in the last week and a half or so, we've been averaging like 15 to 17 calls a shift. And
wow.
85-90% of those are just people with COVID.
So how do they know? Do they have like COVID papers? They're like, hey, we got a COVID, you know, like, is there an absolute on that? You know?
Yeah. They just go and get a test, you know, and then they get told they have COVID. And so we show up, you know, and some of the common signs are like you ever seen in like the movies where they put that little thing on the patient's finger and then it shows what their O2 saturation is. They call it an SpO2. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you and I right now are somewhere between 98, 99, 100% saturation oxygen, right? Well, a lot of these COVID patients, especially the elderly and the ones in convalescent homes, their O2 saturation will be in the 80s. The 70s, you know, and until this, I had never seen anyone with an O2 saturation below like 70. And so I've regularly seen patients.
Like real. So,
yeah,
I mean,
you're like,
because a month ago, you were like, "Hey, is this thing even real? I don't even know." You're like, borderline conspiracy theories going on here. And now it's like, wow,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, well, this is real.
Yeah, well, it's very real if you're living in a convalescent home and you're bedridden and you need help to go to the toilet. Because
Wow.
what I'm learning about this, the more and more patients I run and the more nurses I talk to and paramedics and
Right.
everyone involved in this process of getting the people from their place to the hospital and back.
You're ground zero, Steve.
Yeah, yeah, is it radically attacks your pulmonary your lungs, okay,
Right.
and it just mass produces all this phlegm.
Yep.
So if you're a runner and you go out and jog every day, it's going to naturally break up that phlegm and your body's going to process it and you're either
Right.
going to cough it out or digest it. If you're bedridden and you don't move, it can't go anywhere and it just builds up in these globs and mucus and it can't get out. And eventually, if you can't get rid, it'll kill you. So what I'm learning
Like you're
about this,
drowning. It's almost like you're drowning in your own phlegm.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was hungry.
Put that on a cracker, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking about lunch after this, but not really anymore.
Yeah, no, this should help you shave off 3/4 of a pound right here.
This is terrible, Steve. Oh man. Well, at least we know it's real.
Yeah, if you're a normal, regular, healthy person or anyone
Active.
under the age of like 20, you're fine. You're just going to get sick. And, people have called, like we went on a call of a gal the other day that her SpO2 was 97%. And she wanted to go to the hospital for COVID. And we're like, hey, we'll take you. But what's going to happen? It'll be a $1,200 ambulance ride. And you will sit in the waiting room for 12 hours until a nurse can run out and put this little thing on your finger. And when it says 97%, they're going to send you home. So
for $1,200, that's a deal.
Yeah, right. What a steal. So
yeah.
we'll save you the 12 hours of your time. Just walk around, get as much, try to get some air through your lungs and, rest and drink a lot of fluids.
Should have just told her to get a like an Uber black service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well go in like luxury or something,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Get the sedan, splurge. It'll only be $37.
The Denali, get some extra leg room.
Yeah. So it's just been gnarly, man. It's just so many COVID patients.
Well, this is better than, like your going out on like, the burn victim calls, what do they call them? What do you guys call them? Your
crispy critters?
Your crispy critters. So that's a real thing. Like you really call them crispy critters.
Yeah. It's kind of the lingo in the among any firemen. Yeah.
So this has been going on for, I think I told you this. I was like in like junior high and like my little girlfriend at the time was like, her dad was the fire captain. And she's like, yeah, they call burn victims crispy critters. And I was like, I just never forgot that. And I kind of verified that with you. And it's like a real thing.
Yeah.
Firemen call burn victims crispy critters.
Yeah, it's fucked up. I know. It's the gallows humor. Like, when you see enough people that have been burned alive.
You're in California, man. This is the Socialist Republic of California. You could get in trouble.
I know. I probably could. It's the way you get rid of the stress after a horrible call like that. You got to make some kind of joke out of it or you'll just go insane. Yeah.
Well, I'd be curious to know a few more of these, but I'll, crispy critter is good for now. I like the verification on that.
Yeah. Some other things I've seen. It's the rumor about getting COVID twice. It is possible, but it's extremely unlikely. And the more I talk to and the more research I do, it's there have been cases where it has happened, but so far there's been like 1,600 verifiable cases where someone has gotten it and then gotten it again, but that's out of millions of people.
Right.
So essentially just assume you're that you're immune if you've gotten it.
Yeah.
And the vaccine, I just got my vaccine a few days ago, and then I have to go for another booster shot.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
in another few weeks. So it's once you get that, it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID, but when and if you get it, your symptoms will be far less than if you did not get the vaccine.
And Bill Gates can track you now.
Exactly. Yes. Personally, I don't know, but I think this is going to kind of run through the population. And then, everyone will have either gotten it before or after the vaccine, and everyone will, generally speaking, be immune to it.
Yeah, get that herd immunity.
Yeah, and that'll be it. So I would say if you are in a convalescent home, you are very vulnerable to this. If you're older with respiratory issues, you're quite vulnerable to it. And if you're under 18, think of yourself as immune. And, if you're kind of in our age group in our 40s or so, if you've got some underlying health issues, especially respiratory issues, I would wear a mask more often than not when you're in public gatherings,
Right.
But if you're a normal, healthy individual, especially if you're like a runner, you work out, you take care of yourself, you're going to be fine. It's going to be like the cold,
Nice.
Getting a cold or the flu, and that'll be that.
Luckily I haven't had it, so hopefully I get some herd immunity soon.
Yes. Yeah, me neither. But you've had a kind of a rough week, huh? Your partner has. You've got your window covering business.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have one of the businesses I have a window treatments company, and I just kind of run it on the back end usually. I'm kind of like just strategize marketing, sales, just lead generational kind of things. And but yeah, I had a business partner. He ate some sushi. Found out. Yeah, okay. He ate some sushi.
Yeah, I've done that many times. I've had sushi.
Yeah. Well, raw, and like we all have, but I won't be eating sushi again, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I mean, at least raw. So he got some bacteria. I don't even know what it's called. I thought he had gout. Had to go to the hospital multiple months. I took him, and finally got the results, and he had sepsis. So, and it was
so he had an infection in his blood.
The blood infection. It was basically like necrosis of the blood, I believe is what it is. And basically your blood just starts going bad, and you can die. It's very, very severe. So so they had to call the county health department for the restaurant and, the whole deal. So it's, don't be careful eating raw sushi. So won't be eating that anytime real soon anymore.
Yeah. So he's normally the guy that goes out to the houses and does the window measurements and does the blind install.
He does all that, and I got a kind of a team of people, but he's like kind of like the main guy. So he kind of went down, and I was like, oh no,
yeah,
we got to still run a business here. So I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, well, there's a van, here's some keys, and I have no idea what I'm doing. This guy's ordering stuff all the time. I'm like going through paperwork. I'm like, who's Mrs. Klein? They're like, you got an appointment today. There's an appointment. I would just like show up, and I'd be like, what do you need?
I got my tool belt here. I don't know what any of these tools do.
Like I got some books here. You want to look through some stuff? I literally haven't done this in like over like a year or two.
Yeah.
And so the business just kind of runs itself, which is kind of nice, and obviously I don't keep as close of an eye on things as I should.
Well, you had a couple that you.
So they wanted these really pretty shutters and all this stuff. So I'm like, go in and presentable and everything, and so I walk in, and then the guy thinks I'm like trying to hit on his wife or something. I'm like, no, man, I'm just here to like sell you some stuff. I don't care about your wife. But you can just kind of like feel it, you feel kind of weird tension, like
the wife is flirting with you.
Yeah,
and
she was super, and they were really nice people. And I'm like, hey man, I'm just here to do a job. Leave me alone,
Yeah.
And I just had to like, literally, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to act gay. I'm just going to act gay and like relieve the tension, So I literally like acted gay for about 45 minutes, and it was, it worked to my advantage. It was like acting. So I did that. We got the sale, and I was out of there. So some good sales advice,
The wife is hitting on you. Just throw a couple flamboyant words out there. And,
absolutely.
Matter of fact, flirt with the husband.
Yeah, flirt with tell him how good he looks in that shirt. As long as you're secure with yourself, just go for it. Yeah, so luckily things are back to normal, but yeah, that was kind of it was definitely, it's been a rough few weeks.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you were we were talking the other day, and you told me
Hmm.
you'd never told me this story before, but it was
Mm.
when you were in. We've both been to Thailand many times.
Yeah.
We love that
Cool
country.
country. Yeah, cool country. Fun,
I could
great
probably be
party.
a tour guide there,
Well, I
and
could be a taxi cab driver if I wanted to in Bangkok. All else fails, but you know, that's just me. I just roll you around in my tuk tuk. Little flashy lights and on the whole gig.
yes. Your first time to Thailand, I suppose it's more your experience getting to Thailand, flying from
Oh,
LAX out
wow.
to Bangkok, right? You went with a buddy of ours. I've had him on the show years ago. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was, oh wow. Well, how do we unfold this? Well, so it's an eight, what is it, like 18 hours the flight? You know, 18, 9, whatever it is. It's really long.
yeah,
And I got this little thing that I do, you know, when I get on a long flight like that, I take a shot of whiskey and I take some sleeping pills,
yeah,
you know, and I just pass out and I wake up and I'm usually there.
yeah.
Well, didn't happen this time.
Okay.
I woke up and I'm like, oh, we still have like 10 hours, you know, or like at least 4 or 5 hours. It was like, oh man, I just need to sleep. So I look over to my buddy of mine who's down the aisle and I'm like, hey, do you have anything to like, I need to sleep. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem, man. Here you go. And I'm like, give me a candy. And I'm like, oh, I don't really want a candy. Do I need some sleeping pills or you got something, Xanax? I'll take anything.
Yeah,
And he's like, no, it's cool, man. Just take it. And I don't really smoke marijuana. I don't do anything. You probably know where this is all going now.
yeah.
But yeah, it was like a Jolly Rancher. And I'm like, he's like, no, just have it. You'll be good. I was like, okay, cool. So I start chomping on the Jolly Rancher and literally like I would say maybe within 30 minutes, I am like having an out of body experience like on the airplane. I am so high, I'm like literally like hallucinating and I'm looking down the aisle at my friend. He's giving me the thumbs up and I'm like, this is not fun. So
I should be sleeping right now.
yeah, I should be sleeping and I'm like hallucinating on an airplane and like, by the way, like marijuana and all that stuff's like really illegal where we're going. Why do you have this? So
This is jail
I'm
time.
I am so like literally I am so high. I'm like almost having an out of body experience. I mean, like I'm seeing things. I don't want to talk to anybody and I'm like paranoid at this point, right? Like I'm, you know. So finally we end up in Bangkok. I get off the plane. You know, we're walking through the security and then you know the main doors when you get out of the you know when you're coming out and then you usually can't go back in, you know.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
come
There's
out
the
of
point of no return.
the
Whereas, like,
point of
if
no
you forget
return
something on the
doors.
plane, you can go
That's
back. But if
exactly.
you go through those doors, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're just fucked.
Yeah,
You're done. So,
yeah,
you know, so we go and you have to like put your goods, you know, through a little video or whatever, their cameras, and then get your bags and you walk out of the doors of no return. So I'm high as a bat. I'm like thinking the escalators like going up the ski resort slopes, those little things. I mean, I'm just beyond like high. So we go beyond the doors of no return and then all of a sudden I look at my friend and I'm like, where's my backpack? And I'm so high and I'm looking around, I can't find my backpack. And I have like 3 4 this is the first time I'm in Thailand, by the way. I know nothing. We
yeah,
just showed up. I got a hotel. That's all I know. I know where we need to go. My passport, like $3,000 to $4,000 in cash, camera, like everything, you know, like everything you would need for I could last a week or two, you know, just with that backpack. It had like everything in there except my wallet. And I look at my friend and he's high as a bat too. And I'm so high and I'm like, where's my backpack? I don't know. I'm like freaking out. And this is my first time in Thailand. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I need to get the police. And I'm high as a bat on these. They were edibles, by the way. I don't know who's regulating that stuff, but they're definitely not regulated. And I am just going, I got to find the police in Thailand. I'm like, I need to go back through the doors of no return. Where's my backpack? Freaking out, completely freaking out. We're on the second level. I got to get down. I'm trying to get down to the first level. I'm like, stay right here. I'll be right back. So I hop in the elevator and I'm so high that I can't get down to the first floor. Yeah. So I am so high. I'm pushing the buttons and my friend keeps looking over the elevator. This happened at least 3 times, and the door opens and he sees me and he's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I can't get downstairs. I can't get downstairs. Finally, I get down to the first floor. I'm running around. I'm like, I need help. I need to find my backpack. I'm like, literally, I see this little like room. It's like an office, and it says like police. And then nobody speaks English. I'm like running. I see like a police officer, and I'm like, hey, I need your help. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm just high. I'm like this. I'm feeling like I might get arrested. I don't know what's going on. Finally, like, I take the guy. I'm doing smoke hand signals with him. I'm like, come with me. Come with me. So I'm trying to get him back to the doors of no return. I finally, he comes with me. I get him there, and I'm still so high. I'm like, this is like a movie, and I'm pointing, I need to get back into there. So he gets me back there, and then I'm like, all the little stations look all the same. I'm like, oh my God, I'm high as a bat, and I'm sitting here with the Thai police officer, and I'm trying to find my backpack. This is not good. Yeah. So luckily I found the one video thing, where you put your bags through the little, I don't know what it's called.
The X-ray machine, or
the X-ray, yeah, the X-ray machine. So I'm like, this is it. I have my bags here. And so the guy who's running the machine, he goes, okay, look, this is what we're gonna do. He's like, we're gonna rewind, we're gonna find you or whatever. So there's about 4 or 5 Thai people with the police officer and the operator, people that are working there, and everybody's looking up at this video screen. And they're rewinding, and then I'm like, there, and I'm pointing at myself, and so I'm like, there I am, I'm right there. That's me. That's the white guy, or that's him. and so they rewind me, and then they shows me get my backpack, take off the backpack, put it through the X-ray machine, pick up my backpack, and walk out of the doors of no return. And everybody is just looking at me like I'm a complete freaking idiot.
Like, why did you just waste 20 minutes of our time?
Yeah, at least 20 minutes of our time. Like, nobody can go through this X-ray. I've shut down the whole thing. I got a police officer with me, and they're all looking at me, and I'm high as a bat on edibles. And I'm like, thank you very much, guys. I think I'll be leaving now. So I just hightailed it out of there, and I just left everybody, those 5 people that were at the X-ray machine and the video monitor. I just left them all there, and I just took off. So I get out of the gates, right? I get out of the gate, and then I see my friend who's high as a bat as well.
Yeah, you find Hugo, right?
Yeah, I find Hugo, and I'm like, yo, Hugo, what's up, man? He's like, I'm like, dude, just forget it. I'll go to the embassy. I don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. Just get me to the hotel. This is just not a good experience, And all of a sudden, Hugo goes, is that your backpack right there? Dude, it was right next to us the whole time. That's how high we were. It was literally like leaning up on like one of those rails, or like little glass partition rail. It was like just leaning up right there, just right there next to us,
just 12 feet from where you're standing.
Oh, and then it gets even better. Then Hugo goes, dude, where's my phone? The whole thing started over again. I'm not going to go into the details. Luckily, look, we found the phone, and then it was back where he left it sitting down. Luckily, I got a taxi, went straight to the hotel. That's the story. First time in Thailand. That's how I entered the country.
No more edibles from there, huh?
I haven't had an edible since, and don't think I'll be taking one anytime soon. Those are like literally dangerous.
They turn you into an idiot.
Complete moron, an idiot, like paranoid idiot. That's how I can explain it. I don't know. I just I can't do. I don't know if I got like a high dosage batch, or I don't know what it is, but there's no like, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 5.
0 to batshit crazy.
Yeah, batshit. Yeah, I definitely got the batshit crazy one. Like lost my mind. So that's my Thailand story.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Right on. Well, should we get into some real estate 101?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. So, yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So I feel like there's a few terms that we should probably get out of the way just right off the bat so that when we rattle them off, people, everyone will be on the same page. Okay. So as far as getting buying a home, there's several different classifications that you could get the loan under, right? So you could get a primary residence loan, which means that you're going to get a loan, and this is the house that you're going to live in, right? This is going to be your primary residence, okay? And then another type of loan that you could get, which would be called a second home, right? So you have your primary residence, and then now you want to get a second one. You have to get a second home one, like maybe it's a little cabin kind of out in the woods, right? And then the third one would be a rental property one, right? A loan for a rental property. Now, the difference between all of these is the primary residence loan is going to be a lower percentage rate than the second home, and the second home is going to be a lower percentage rate than the rental, right? So ideally, you want all of your loans, regardless of what they're going to be a primary residence loan, because you're going to get a lower percentage rate on it, and it's going to be cheaper for you over the long run.
It's a pretty big difference too. It's literally at least 1% usually.
Yeah. So if your primary residence loan is 2%, your second home is going to be 3%, and your rental property is going to be like 4.5% or something, right? Yeah, that's why last week when we had Rob on, he was talking about these kind of loopholes, or maybe we should just call them techniques, to get to make
double bunny air quotes.
Yes. Techniques to get primary residence loans on these ones that he's turning into short-term rentals, right? Let's see, what are some other terms? Okay, so there's a buyer's market. So a buyer's market would be when, generally speaking, the cost of homes is low and there's a lot of homes available. That's more advantageous to the buyer because he has a lot to choose from. So, you can offer less than the person is asking. A seller's market would be where, like I just sold one of my places in Vegas, there were very few homes like it available. And so I got several offers that were for more than I was asking. So that's a seller's market. Right?
And we're currently in a seller's market still.
Yes, as of the beginning of 2021, we are in a seller's market because there's not much supply and there's a lot of demand. So it's going to drive the price up.
We're hoping that turns hopefully sooner than later.
God, I hope so. I'm just waiting on counting on it. Literally,
it's overdue. Yeah, the cycles are generally speaking 7 to 10 years. So I mean, we're definitely due. But, not a palm reader. So
one more I think is a PMI. So that stands for private mortgage insurance. And basically what that means is if you don't put down 20%, so if you're going to buy a $100,000 home and you put down $20,000, you put down 20%, then you don't have to have this private mortgage insurance. If you only put down $10,000, you put down 10%, then what the bank does is it says, well, you're more risky of someone to lend to because you're only putting down 10% instead of 20% or more. So what we're going to do is we're going to need insurance on you, and we're not going to pay for that. You are, right?
Yeah.
So
let me make note. They changed the law. Now they changed the law. I think it was back like 2012, 13, maybe. Don't quote me exactly, but just right around that time period, if you had less than 20%. And of course you had to have the private, the PMI. When you went to 20%, when you got to 20%, it's supposed to fall. It used to just fall off. You call the mortgage company and be like, hey, I'm at 20%. Can you take this off so you don't have to pay that fee anymore?
Yeah.
So they did change the law. And so after that, which is, now currently, it's for the life of the loan.
Yeah. Okay.
So whatever you get.
By that example, let's say you want to purchase a $100,000 home. You put down $10,000, only 10%. Before, once you had your payoff amount down to $80,000, you call them up and you go, hey, I've reached my 20% of the loan. Just go ahead and drop this insurance for me, and we'll call it a day. And they went, okay. But they don't do that anymore.
No.
Once you get, down to $80,000, they just say, well, that's fine. You still have this for the life of the loan. So what you have to do is you got to refinance, correct?
Yes. Yeah. You can refinance out of that, which is a way to get out of it. So once you hit that 20%, if the interest rates are good and everything makes sense, great idea. If you don't want that payment, which can be anywhere from like, $100 to a few $100, pretty easily. I think mine was about like 150 to 200. It was a couple, I think it was about 223 maybe. I don't know. When I actually had that. So I'm a testament to that whole process. So, but yeah, but yeah, you can definitely refinance out of it. That's a great way to get out of it.
Okay. And go into a little bit the FHA loan. So that's a first-time home buyer loan. So it's for someone that hasn't owned a home before, right?
Right. Typically, yes. So yeah, so that's a way to achieve the loan. You can put 3.5% down. So just for easy numbers, $100,000, 3.5%, $3,500. So, do the math, depending on, obviously how much the place is, but so you can actually get in there relatively cheap. I think it's a great way, but I think, the deal has to work, because obviously your payment's going to be, obviously more. You got to take into consideration the private mortgage insurance, because you haven't obtained, that 20% as well. So there's a lot to consider, when you're doing the FHA, but it's a great way. I mean, I did it, worked for me. I did it in a buyer's market, like at the bottom of a buyer's market when I originally did it. So the numbers really worked. Home prices were really down. The payment, what I had to pay, taxes and insurance. Now at the top of the seller's market, let's say in today's environment, that's a lot more money. If you just put that 3.5, but it is a way, to definitely get in. I think I got in probably with like, I don't know, about $12,000 altogether.
And what was the cost of the place?
Well, that first place was a couple $100,000. That was back when you could actually buy a place for that much in California, which just seems like almost weird now, right?
Yeah. Now it'll get you a homeless tent.
Yeah, I think you can't even get a mobile home,
right?
It's like you're lucky to get a mobile home. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's generally speaking for people that have not bought a home. But let's say you have, you're already in your primary residence and you've used an FHA loan. Well, what are some of the rules for an FHA loan, right? You got to have the same job for the last 2
years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 years. You can actually have a different job, but it has to be in the same industry. Obviously it's more favorable if if you're a nurse or something, but you went to go work at this hospital, but you went to go work at another hospital, or, you're a salesperson, but you went to go work for another company, that's usually okay, so, having that, and then, FICO score of at least, I think they take you with at least like 580, 580, which is a pretty crappy score, but you can get a loan.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I trust anybody with a 580 score, but hey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you got to have the same job for a couple of years. And now, if you wanted to get a second FHA loan, there's certain stipulations that you can have to do that, right? Like, let's say you're like my brother. He got he's a mechanic, and he moved to another state. Would he be able to get another FHA loan? It's got to be at least 200 miles from your initial home.
Yeah, don't quote me exactly on the distance, but it's right around like about 200 miles or so from your original. So you could use it, if you wanted to. A lot of people don't realize that they can do that. You can actually have 2 FHA loans, but you can do that if it's within a couple hundred miles of your primary residence.
Oh, so does it have to be 200 or less, or
200 or less miles?
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah,
okay.
No, it's 200. So there's this like some weird things. So you could say, hey, I lost my job and I had to move my business, here, and I'm doing this now. And just as long as you could kind of prove those things, I guess, so it's a workaround to get another loan. You could say, to leverage more money at 3.5% if you really wanted to.
Okay.
So I'm not advising you to do that, but you could do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't even, when you talk to, the mortgage companies, a lot of times the people that you talk to don't really know that rule. Because when I initially was looking into that, the guy was like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Okay.
He had to call me back. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that. And he's like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, you can do that. I'm like, great, thanks.
One thing I wanted to talk about was the loan amounts and the terms. So basically, like the length of your mortgage. So you can even get mortgages now for 40 years, a 40-year
Yeah.
the most common one is going to be the 30-year mortgage. And I've read several books on this, and they all universally say that the reason that the 30-year mortgage is the most popular and the most common is because that's the one that the banks want you to get because they make the most money from it. And, so that's the one that they market and they advertise the most, right? And so, but they also offer 20-year loans, 15-year loans, and 10-year loans. So the advantage of getting a shorter term loan is that, well, for one, you pay your house off faster. And number two is your interest rate is going to be lower. So you end up paying less money in the long run. So let's say
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
You save a lot of money going from a 30. If you can afford the payment going from a 30 to a 15, the numbers are like pretty. You just save a lot of money.
They're very, very significant. So I'll just throw out some quick ones here so you can see what it's like. The easy math one, 100K, $100,000 house. If you get a 10-year note, you'll pay it off in 10 years, and the total amount that you'll end up paying after all the interest and shit is $110,000. Okay, so it costs you 10 grand and you're done in 10 years, right? It costs you an extra 10 grand, right? If you do a 30-year note on a 100K loan, you end up paying $139,000. So that's an extra $29,000, and it takes you 20 years longer to pay it off, right? Maybe some little more realistic numbers where probably not too many people are in a $100,000 house. Maybe there's a few, but maybe 300,000 is a little bit more one that you can.
Yeah, but just for easy math purposes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so a 300K house, a 10-year note will end up costing you $334,000, but a 30-year note will end up costing you $421,000. So it's almost $100K more. And it takes you 20 years longer. A $500,000 house will end up costing you $552,000 on a 10-year note, and on a 30-year note will cost you almost $700,000.
Yep.
So it's like $150K more to do that. And it maybe 30, maybe a 10-year note is way too optimistic for most people. Maybe a 20 or a 15 is better. But on that $500,000 note, if 10-year is $552,000, a 15 would be $577,000, a 20-year would be $624,000, and a 30-year would be about $700,000.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people don't really take into consideration too, especially when they're buying a house. They don't realize when typically most people put it always on a 30. And that's fine and everything, but it's a significant amount of difference, between that 30 and a 15.
Yeah, huge. And I know most millionaires pay off their property in 10.2 years. So if we want to do what the top few percent of the population is doing, they're grabbing those lower term notes because it's saving them a huge amount of money that now they can put into the next one. And I've had a lot of guys at work ask me about this. I show them the numbers, and
I'm like mind blown, huh?
Yeah. Now, only 1 out of 30 of them has actually taken my advice.
That's usually how it works out.
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
you did a good deed,
But this kid is, he got the 15-year note, 20% down, and he's 12 years away from paying off his property. whereas everyone else has 27 years. You know,
Yeah.
so he's had to get a little bit smaller place than the other guys because his monthly payment is more. But look at long term what that's going to do for his
Oh no, that's fantastic. Yeah, if you
quality
can
of
do
life.
it, well, a lot of times too, it's the payment as well. You know, you have to obviously get what you can afford, and plan for your worst day. I always, that at least that's what I did. I was like, hey, I got to plan for my worst day. It's I gotta. I'm like a one-armed disabled person working as a barista. What can I afford?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so I take that into consideration as well. But you get a high, obviously that 15-year comes with a really high payment, and that's kind of a deterrent for a lot of people too. So but a lot of people too, they can go from a 30, and you can always later on down the road, you make some more money, change it up to a 15.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing you could do is simply make extra payments. There's the little
Yep.
trick of most people have it set up on a monthly program, so you make one payment, on the first
Extra.
of every month. Well, if you're like, let's say you're paid biweekly, well, that works out to 26 pay periods a month, right? Instead of 24, like if you get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month, or if you got paid bi-weekly, 52 weeks divided by 2 is 26. You can kind of sneak in an extra payment in there, right?
That really helps out a lot.
Yeah, that knocks off several years off the
Yep.
back end of the loan, and you pay your house off faster. Saving yourself all that money on interest.
Yep.
Let's see, what's another little thing? Oh, APR is the actual percentage rate, and that is, so when you hear like what's the interest rate of the loan and then what's the APR, there's all these little things that you can do to kind of like put stuff into the loan. When you buy a house, and let's say the house is $300,000, well, there's a lot of closing costs. Nobody's going to do this shit for free. You know what I mean? So
What do you mean they're not going to do it for free? The notary with the 10-page book coming to my house to sign?
That you actually have to pay them to do that, right? So there's an option where what you can do is you could say, okay, I'm going to mortgage the $300,000, and then I'll just pay out of pocket all these extra escrow and closing costs and the notary and all this stuff. You could do that, but nobody ever fucking does that. What they do is they just roll that into the loan, and instead of having
roll it all up. Yep.
Yeah, instead of having a $300,000 mortgage, they have a $316,000 mortgage, or 308 or whatever it is. Well, the APR kind of factors in if you do that. You have to do the math yourself and find out what it really is, but just know that when you see like, oh wow, it's the interest rate is 1.9, and then you look at the APR and it says 2.4. Well, which one are you going to actually do? Are you going to take 15 grand out of your pocket and put it in there? Okay, then you get the 1.9. If you don't, then you're getting the 2.4.
Yeah, I think that's a point of confusion for a lot of people too. They don't understand that. So maybe another scenario on that, Steve, or something. Because honestly, I think when I was first trying to buy, I didn't even realize what that was.
Yeah. No, I didn't either.
I was like, okay, yeah, sure. DocuSign. Yeah, we'll sign all these. Sign my life away. Okay, we're good. Give me the keys.
Yes.
Kind of like buying the car, and they're trying to add a bunch of stuff in there, and you're just signing away. That first car you bought.
Yeah. Another easy way to do the math on these is you're probably thinking like, I have absolutely no how to get what's called, just go on your phone. It's a free app. There's probably dozens of them, but it's a loan calc app. All right. So like, a mortgage
calculator.
Exactly. Yeah. And so in that it'll say the amount, you put in 153,000 or whatever the price of the home is, the term. So is it a 15, 20 or 30-year mortgage, and then the interest rate. And when you type those in, so I'll just do one right now. We'll do a 15-year note on $100,000 at a 2% interest rate. It instantly spits out that your monthly payment is $643, and your monthly interest that you're paying is $87, and the total amount of the loan is $115,000, and the total interest you're going to pay is $15,000. So it's a quick, easy way to do the math on this, so you don't go insane. Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. I was just listening to you. Sorry, Steve. Yeah, but those are pretty readily available. I mean, you can go online, Google it. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. You can get an app, so it's very very easy to get that stuff figured out. So
Yeah. I
nowadays, at least.
let's see. Do you got any other little tips?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that we had kind of different experiences when you bought your first home as like when I bought mine with a FHA 3.5%, and you bought yours with 20%, right?
My first home, I did not.
Oh, you did not. Oh,
No.
okay. Oh, what was your experience with your first house then, Steve?
First house was pretty similar to, let's see, my first house. Well, that was a mistake.
Uh,
That's what I'm advocating that people do not do. Is I bought it with I think it was a 51580 or something to that effect. So it was like I put 5% down. I had a second mortgage for 15%, and then a third, and then the primary mortgage was for 80%.
Was that an interest only loan?
It was not interest only. No, what it
Was it
did was it
or
at
5 year interest?
at the time it was so that you didn't have to pay like a PMI. You get this second mortgage so that
Mm,
you're 5% down plus the
it's covering
15%.
you.
Yeah, but that mortgage rate was horrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say usually anytime you get a second, that's good for people to know too. Like it's generally a lot higher.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
8 to 12 to 15, like it's almost a credit card, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's a mistake I would not do. I would um,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
advocate for 20% down and then
I
get
don't even think
as
that that's available anymore
No, I don't think they are. I think
because they're
that was
just
one of the
bad.
reasons that the housing market crashed because they just raped everyone and no one could afford their home.
You were part of the pillaging.
Exactly. Yes.
Come burn my thatch house.
Oh, so true. Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, well, you sounds like you didn't do too smart of a thing there. So live and learn, right?
Yeah. The second one I got
Yeah.
was a rental property,
Mm.
which I ended up buying as a second home, and I put 20% down. So I didn't have a PMI. I had a little bit higher interest rate than it would have been if it was primary residence, but
Yeah.
not as high as if it would have been a rental. And I didn't have a PMI, so I was at least moving in the correct direction. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You're learning from the mistakes, as
Oh
you
God, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
don't do as Steve says, not as what he did.
Not as what he does. Yes. And so that one was a lot better. And now with that one I own free and clear.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So yeah, that's some pretty vastly different. Yeah, I did the FHA. It worked out to my benefit. I would question doing an FHA loan, let's say in this environment now, but when the market turns back into a buyer's market, and FHA is like, I mean, I think it works in the right environment, and it can definitely get you in. I think it's an easy way to just grab a house,
Yeah.
and if I'm just 3.5%, I mean, you're talking like under 20 grand, and you're completely in. Giving some extra cash to do some fix up, whatever you're gonna do. But I think it can work to your advantage. It just depends on the environment, and basically, does the deal work, and can you afford it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Yeah. It. I. I got my brother's take on it. I was talking to him this morning as we were doing our football picks, and I asked him some of the. He's a few years younger than me, but he's in his fourth house and he's ready to buy his fifth one now. What's his little tips and tricks? What are some golden nuggets that he's learned over the years? And one thing he was saying is that every home that he's ended up selling, basically taking that profit, rolled it into the next one, and his mortgage payment has significantly gotten smaller. The homes have gotten better. And from now on, I don't think he's going to end up selling any of them. He's able to purchase them with at least 20% down. And then when he leaves, he can get a positive cash flow in that one from renting it. Let's say the mortgage is 1,200, he rents it for 17, moves on to the next one. And one thing he said was, he's like, he called it DIY. And I'm like, DIY? He's all, do it yourself. He's like, you know, when you get into these places, I'm like, oh, I've heard of do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's like the Home Depot theme or something.
Yeah.
This is why Lowe's is in business. And he said, you know, do it yourself. You know, if you don't know how to put on a doorknob, just watch a YouTube video, and 15 minutes later, you can do all 39 of them in your house. I'm like, okay, that's a very good point. You know, and another interesting thing that he said, and I had never thought of it, but he said, generally speaking, he said, you know, well, first of all, you know, the neighborhood is key. You want to buy in a nice neighborhood that other people are going to want to buy in, and that families, you know, are going to want to rent from you, you know, so things like getting like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is better than getting a studio. Getting a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath is better than a 3+2, you know? And he was saying that you want to kind of get in the bottom end of that neighborhood. So let's say there's like 3 different tiers of houses in the neighborhood that you want to live in. You know, there's the $100,000 tier, and then there's the $150,000 tier, and then there's the $200,000 tier, right? He said it's better to get the $100,000 house and then do some of the work yourself. Get the little bit nicer ceiling fans. Get the rocker panel light switches, and get the modern doorknobs and the faucets that cost $45 a piece as opposed to $19.99.
Yeah, the Home Depot specials.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, the ones that are going to break in a year and a half. You know, get those, and what'll happen is when you go to either sell that place or rent it out, you know, like we'll just say you're going to sell it for sake of argument. You know, let's say the homes in that area are averaging like $100 a square foot. So that $100,000 house is about 1,000 square feet. He said, you'll be able to get like 110 or 115 or $120 a square foot, because it's just a little bit nicer with all these extra little things, you know, the stainless steel sink instead of like the little crappy one.
It doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, it really doesn't. And matter of fact, I think what I like to do is I usually go to probably a lot of people are familiar with Pinterest. Pinterest is great. You know, you can get your ideas, themes, you know, if you just like a certain thing, sinks, faucet. I mean, you can type in anything and get your color schemes, but it's a great way. And you can even, it's almost clickable now, and they'll tell you where you can even buy that, or you can just get the manufacturer, whatever, you know, go to the Home Depot or Lowe's website or whatever website, and, you know, usually get that faucet colored knob or whatever. But it's a great site, I think, for a lot of people who are fixing up, you know, their places, or they want to, you know, whatever it is, you know, you can, it's literally anything with a house. I mean, if you want to build a pergola, they'll show you like 1 million pergolas. You know,
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, so that's what I did. Obviously, I mean, you know what I've gone through with this last place that I have. So that's what I did. Inspiration boards are actually really good. Just literally print. If you see something, like, print it, stick it on a wall.
Tape it on your wall. Tape it next to the window that you're going to replace with whatever blinds you want. Yeah, exactly. You'll start to visualize it, and then naturally you'll start building it.
Yeah, so I've done that. That works really well. But Pinterest is great. I mean, that's a really great website for inspiration. You know, just getting kind of, you know, build yourself a little mood board, you know, even if you just want to put it in a little folder or whatever, you know, but you have it, it's there. And, you know, I've gotten a lot of different ideas from that, and it works really well.
Yeah, along those lines, what he did was, I guess it would be like the going out into the Pinterest world, is he said he would go to all the $1 million and above model homes.
Oh, go take pictures of them?
Yeah. He said, him and his wife love to do that on the weekends. Just go cruise the $1 million homes and get ideas, you know? And he said, so you basically go into these places and then you just copy it. You know, they've already done the work for you. They've had the girl come in and pay her $40,000 to decorate the place.
Yeah, absolutely. And just go in there to take some video and some pictures, and you're good to go. Go home. And do
exactly. Yes.
Matter of fact, I even knew a guy that he would only buy the model home.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I know this guy. I ran into him. He's like, "Yeah, man, I just bought this place." I'm like, "What do you mean you just bought it?" "Yeah, I only buy the actual model home." And
Some of them like come with the furniture and stuff too.
No,
right?
that's what he does.
Yeah.
The whole thing. He's like, "I don't have to do anything. I just move in."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so he waits till they sell them all, and then they usually have like 2 or 3 of them usually,
Yeah.
and then he goes in. He's like, "No, I want the model home. I want all the furniture, everything, because it comes with shelves. I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's all completely furnished.
Yeah. He doesn't even have to buy a lamp.
It does nothing. No, everything's done. He just tells me, he's like, "Yeah, I just buy the model home always." I was like, very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care? Like, he's like, "No, usually it's great, and then just move in.
Yeah.
Unpack my bags and I'm good to go." I was like,
grab my backpack and I'm in.
Backpack. It's like he treats these model homes like hotels or something every 10 years. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Oh, another thing he said too that I've never really had an eye for, but he definitely is. He said you want the house to have all one theme, So we've all walked into a house and it's like, oh, this has like a Spanish theme, the tile and the colors and the countertops and everything just kind of match like that color scheme and theme, like you walk in and it just feels like a farmhouse.
Yeah, you want it beachy, you want it more, mod, just go with the theme.
Exactly. Yeah. Like something. Your home is very like a modern theme. You know what I mean? But it's everything in the home like follows that. It's not like you have
Liberace's beach house, man.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
It's like Liberace approved.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good advice.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it is. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of bad taste, so yeah, go to Pinterest.
Yes.
I've seen some terrible things, man. Matter of fact, I saw a house. It was so terrible that I had to take a picture of it just last week. They like painted it like bright. It was just like a really, just like a normal house, but they painted it like canary yellow with like purple. It was so terrible. I couldn't believe the colors. I was like, why? So
must have gotten a deal on the paint because no one else.
But the paint was on. Yeah, it was just a clearance item. It was canary yellow. It was just the strangest thing with purple. I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
You usually see something like that in like down in the Colonial or like Miami or something. I get it, but here it's kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah. Another thing with like the buying at the bottom end of the neighborhood, is that when people do comps for the area, and the real estate agents are showing homes in this area to a prospective buyer, and they look at the homes in that area, and we'll take the example of the 100, 150, and 200K homes in kind of that same area, but that 3-tier system, if you get, the 200K homes are going to be, their prices are going to be between, 190 to 230, but it's going to be pretty hard for them to get much more than 230 because it's the top of that one. It's a lot easier to ask 130 for your 100K home than it is to ask for like, that same ratio would be 260 for the top end one. You can put up these little things, plant a fruit tree in the backyard and ask for a lot more for the bottom end one to maybe get you closer to the middle tier. Then you can go from the top tier and up. I remember a home in the area that I grew up when I was a little kid. All the homes on the block were single story, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And then there was the one family that built up basically like a little mansion in the suburb area that the home just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? They basically doubled their square footage because they pretty much put a second floor on top of the first one. So instead of 1,200 square feet, they had 24 with a balcony on the second floor. But they're never going to, if all the homes in that area are selling for $500,000, they're never going to get they're not going to get 1 million for that place.
No,
but they might get 750. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're better off, at least what he says. And I think I kind of agree is, getting the $500,000 house and then sprucing it up to try to get into the middle zone than you are going at the top end or the middle end and trying to spruce it up from there.
Yeah, you throw a little sweat equity, as we call it, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly what you're doing right now to yours.
Yeah, I have a lot of sweat equity going on. Kind of never-ending sweat equity, actually. I don't think I really enjoy it anymore. And it's hard to get people to work these days. Yeah. So the other thing also too, Steve, a lot of people I think don't realize is using a broker
Oh yeah,
to
talk
get
about
a
that.
loan as well, versus just your regular, let's say institution like Wells Fargo home loans or something like that. So
Okay, so what's the difference there?
well, usually when someone goes with Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever the mortgage, let's say PennyMac, they only have their products, their FHA or their jumbo loans or whatever they offer. You can only get theirs because that's what they have.
Whatever that specific bank offers.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times because there's a lot more programs obviously out there. There's hundreds and thousands. There's just a lot of programs out there. So you're very limited usually. Obviously if you're only going with that one institution, you go show up at the bank, you're like, hey, I want a home loan. They can only show you their loans. They're not going to show you Chase, Wells Fargo, or on down the line. So generally speaking, if you go with the broker, you have a lot more options. They do tend to charge sometimes, so you do want to watch the fees. That's a negotiable thing with the broker, but you have a lot more options. I've always just used the broker. I just, there's always, they seem to have good relationships, a lot of them, with certain places. They can usually get paperwork through for you because there's so much. People don't realize, I think, when they're first buying something, like all the stuff that they ask you for, it's weird almost.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, well, you need this. Well, why didn't you tell me the first time? I would have given it to you. It's like never ending for weeks. So you're just like sending them like weird stuff, right? Or reasons why on a piece of paper you did something. Going with the broker, I personally like going with the broker. I just feel like I have more options. I don't mind paying a little bit more.
Because they have access to Wells Fargo, they have access to Chase,
Yeah,
they have access
everything.
to PennyMac. They can look at them all and go, "This is the best one for you," and I'm going to take $500 as a fee.
Yeah, well, it's generally a little bit more than
A
that.
little bit
but
more than that. Okay.
yeah. 500. I'd be doing that twice on Sunday. But like I said, generally speaking, that's just me. Some people are like, I've only banked here. I'm with this credit union my whole life, my family, you know what I mean? I have to get, that's fine and all. But there's a lot of options out there, from LA to New York, every state. And, there's a lot. And a lot of times the brokers will have a good relationship with a lot of the, mortgage companies, that they work with.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's some pretty good info. I'm trying to think of anything more that I have on real estate. I've kind of run through my notes here. Can you think of anything else that you got?
It's the types of loan, putting your percentages in, PMIs. Well, I mean, you just get so much, you feel the same. People, you ask, hey, when's a good time to buy a home? Don't ever ask a realtor when's a good time to buy a home, because he's just going to tell you now.
Yeah, they get a percentage of whatever the home sells for. So they don't make shit unless you buy one. So of course it's always a good time to buy.
It's always don't ask the realtor. Well, I was like, well, my realtor, I always get this. Well, my realtor says it's a really good time to buy. I'm like, he's not going to tell you it's a bad time.
Yeah, so he's not going to make any money.
Yeah, I've never heard of like the realtor go, yeah, you just want to hold out. I mean, I'm sure if you're good friends with him, he'll tell you on the side, but
yeah.
He's like, I wouldn't buy right now, but you should.
Yeah.
So, but you just get so much mixed advice from people. And, at the end of the day, just common sense and like, you got to just do what works for you. There's no absolute way. If you're like, yo, I want 20% down, and absolutely, hey, that works for you, great. You make it work with your 3.5% FHA, great, do that. There's a lot of different loan programs out there. There's 10% now. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do out there. But I think just the advice that you get from so many people, it's kind of like never ending, and it makes things confusing, I think, for a lot of people. Especially when they're trying to buy that first place. I mean, your experience, did you get a lot of people kind of in your ear,
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, another big, I think, mistake that a lot of people make is they'll get a 30-year loan, and then they find out that, wow, well, the loan I got 3 years ago was 4.5%, and right now, 30-year loans are 2.5%, and I could refinance, and my monthly payment goes from $2,000 to 1,800. So they just do it, and
You restarting a loan.
oh God, yeah, you had 27 years left on that note, and now you got 30 again. So you're just pushing back, paying it off. You would be much better off. Okay, let's say we'll take that same scenario. You paid it down for 3 years, and you got 27 years left. Well, look at how much the 20-year note ones are, and if the interest rate went from 4.5 to 2% on the 30-year notes, then it probably went down to like 1.8 on the 20-year notes. So you may be able to get a 20-year loan refinancing for the same exact price that you're paying now, having 27 years left. So don't restart that loan. You're literally running backwards. And
it's like tapping into the piggy bank. Really, is really kind of what it. I mean, everybody. It's almost like it's cool to refi, almost.
Yeah.
So I'm refiing. And I just refied. And it's like, try not to do that.
Yeah,
It's very tempting to refinance. I have to admit, and it's like really tempting to do. But I try. I don't. That's just me personally. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I just treat it. I treat it like a stock. Like a stock. Like a Duke Energy, a good old steady Eddie stock, right?
Yes.
I got some money here. Just leave it alone. Don't. Otherwise, you got seller's remorse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not buyer's remorse, but the seller's remorse.
Oh, speaking of Duke, I've gotten a lot of texts and tweets and emails lately about what are some of our latest stocks. We bought a few in the last, and there's 3 that I really like that we got last week.
AWK.
AWK.
That was a good little find.
The one, nice find on that. The graph looks amazing.
Yeah, I like that stock.
We got in on that at like
long haul. That's a long haul stock. It's a utility. Ain't going anywhere. I think it's the dividend isn't great, amazing, but it's like good. It's like, what is it, like little, maybe around 2% or something.
I think so. Let's see.
It's just a good solid, shit hits the fan. I'm okay with having that stock.
Yeah. It let's see, what was the
BEP? Brooksfield?
BEK?
BEK. Is it BEK or BEP?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you're right. BEP.
Yeah, Brooksfield Partners, BEP. Yeah, that's a renewable energy stock. That's been good. I had originally, I was doing research. I've had Nextra, which is kind of like a competitor, I guess you could say. They're like number 1, and the BEP is probably 2 or 3 in the industry. Nextra is the biggest there in the industry. That's a really great one, but BEP is right there, and it's a lot cheaper. I think BEP is what, like $30-$40 or something.
Right now we got in at like 37. So by the time you're listening to this may not be the greatest time to buy it, but if you're just going to buy it and forget it, it's up to 43 now, and the dividend is great. It's
like almost 5%. Yeah, almost 4.5-5% dividend. It's just a good stock. I like Brooksfield Renewable Partners, BEP. Yeah. So I've had.
And the other one we got was AWK. We got that last week. It's probably not too late to get in on that.
It's a little expensive though. It's over $100.
$150 a share. We got in at 149. The dividend isn't great. It's like 1.5%.
It's like public storage of water.
Yeah, it's paid through COVID, and a lot of these companies haven't, and it just
it's paid all the way through COVID. Yeah, it has.
So for every $150 you invest, you're only going to get $2.20 a year, which may not sound like a lot, but this thing just doesn't. It's kind of like a Google. It just doesn't really seem to go down, and then you just reinvest the dividend, end up getting more and more, and
it's just a good place to park a little cash, have a good solid, have a good solid stock. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
We are watching right now, waiting for that AT&T.
Yeah, the ticker symbol is just T. T is in Tango.
Yeah, so that's starting to look like it's almost a buy, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. We need it to basically like, we got a reversal bar last week. So if we were really on it, we would have bought it just before the market closed last week. And I'd be willing to bet that this thing goes up come Monday. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll eat my own words here, but
Yeah, and
I
they
wish we could have
paid.
got it last week. Yeah, and they paid through COVID.
They paid through
Every
COVID.
quarter,
Yeah,
they just pump
it's a
out
really good
52 cents a
sign.
share. Yeah, 7% dividend. You know, for every $30 you invest, you get $2 and change a year. Yeah, it just looks like a really solid.
Yeah, it's like 20. It's trading at $28 right now. Has a good future on it. I know they had some problems because they're kind of going into like the streaming, and I know they were doing media something that didn't really work out, but they're pretty solid. I mean, they got a lot of new business and everything. So yeah, I researched them, and but I think more importantly, a lot of these things are they're paying through the COVID times, which is we've had a couple drop off during that time. A few of them actually, a few companies stopped paying their dividend. Actually,
quite a few.
Quite a few. Yeah. Let me reiterate that.
All the airlines.
Yeah, like all the airlines. Yeah. So, but yeah, any other stocks, Steve, that you wanted to communicate
Walmart.
out?
I like Walmart a lot. It's finally, it's like another Google. It just kind of, just kind of keeps going up, and it's
more like a steady Eddie.
Yeah. Again, the dividend's only 1.5%, but the Walmart and AT&T, if you guys look up these dividends, just go to NASDAQ.com and then look up the dividend history or whatever other avenue you want to Google it on. But one thing that I really like when you look at the dividend history is like, I'm looking at Walmart, and in 2013, and again, this pays every single quarter. So every 3 months they pay a dividend. In 2013, they were paying 47 cents a share. And then in 2014, it was 48 cents a share, 2015, 49, 50, 51, and it just keeps going up. And in 2020, they paid 54 cents a share. So that's what you want to look at and see when you're seeing these dividends. What you do not want to see is it's paying $1 a dividend one year, and then 12 cents the next year, and then 34 cents the year after that. Like, that is volatile, and those are the companies that I've noticed have just stopped paying dividends through COVID. You want to see that steady buildup, and AT&T has the ticker symbol T has done exactly that. They started the history back in 2013 was 45 cents, then 2014 46, and now they're up to 52 in 2021, and there's just never been anything in between where it's gone down. So that's also enticing. And then just reinvest the dividends, and as time goes on, you're going to be buying more and more stock. It'll just be fractions of stock, but
until you get the whole one, usually.
Until you get the whole one,
yeah. So, what about Steve? What about Mickey D's?
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, we got that at $2?
That was an expensive stock too.
Yeah, it was expensive for us. It was like $205 a share, I think we got in on, and now it's what's it up to now? It's like $212 or something.
Yeah.
I think that's just another good one to just hang on to, steady Eddie.
Yeah. We've just been doing a lot of more steady Eddies kind of lately.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. Now I would definitely say that these are stocks that you should buy after you've maxed out your 401k and after you've maxed out your Roth IRA, and consider these as like in addition to your retirement account. These ones that we've talked about here, I think I can't picture myself selling them. I think I'm just going to hang on to them, and they'll probably get liquidated when I die. Or
just take the cream off the top.
Or just take the little cream off the top and then buy more when it goes down, if you can time it like that. I like them a lot.
Yeah, those are good. And then I'm just trying to think. There was I think there was another.
Oh, Duke Energy. Did we talk about that one? Duke.
Yeah, we went through, but yeah, Duke's like does another steady Eddie. It's one of the ultimate steady Eddies out there.
Yeah, their dividend is.
Google. We bought some Google, but that was a little bit ago.
Yeah. Okay. Duke here in 2013, 78 cents a share. Then, 82, 85, 92, 96. Like it hasn't gone down. It's just kept paying through COVID. Their yield right now, as far as the stock price, is 4%. I mean, it's just a good stock, I think, so I don't know that I'll ever sell that one either. I mean, it's just, yeah, I like it. The Google is I feel like the Google one is a real gamble because we're not getting any dividend as the
It's
stock
a growth
price goes
stock.
up. It's a growth stock, so we got in at I think 1,400 or 1,450 for one share.
Yeah.
And now it's up to 17 or 1,800. So that's great. We've made $300 or $400, but we can't realize any of that until we sell the stock, and then we're out of it. Whereas these other ones are really nice because we have the stock and we're getting a dividend that's getting reinvested. So it's kind of like you're getting paid as your money sits there. You don't get paid on Amazon or Google until you sell the thing. And then you don't have it anymore.
You're buying on hope.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, you're winging a prayer.
Yeah. It's just, well, that's the, when you're dealing with the growth stocks, it's more, hey, I'm hoping that this is going to go up. If it goes down, then you're just kind of hanging on to it. You know what I mean? Like my Vodafone, I bought like 3-4 years ago, and I still have it.
Yeah. Someday it'll pay off.
Yeah, someday, sometime. I think no, it's actually set. I think I calculated it out. Like, I bought it at such a horrible time. I looked at the I'm like, I would never buy this at this time. This is just terrible. My saving grace was that I just happen to have a dividend. So, and it pays me like $26 every like 3 months. And it's been doing that for the past almost 3 years at least. I don't know. And it's actually coming to the point where I think I'm going to break even another year.
Yeah. That's how it is for Altria for me, MO. I think I have $1,000 invested into that, and I've got about $100 to $130 worth of dividends. But it's only worth
great like that. Yeah,
yeah. It's only worth $700 now if I were to sell it, but I've got $130 in dividends. So another 2 years, and I'll be at the break-even point.
yeah, but they pay. I mean, they're consistent.
They pay
Altria,
consistently.
They pay every 3 months. I think
every 3 months
quarter.
they just kick out a dividend.
Yeah.
So
nice. So I think those are all great stocks that I think we mentioned. I mean, I really like you said, I don't really think I'll be selling those at all. If they make some money, I might take some cream off the top and move it around, take it, or do something. But for the most part, I'm keeping them.
Yeah, me too. So, I like those ones. Another. Well, this would be a complete gamble. Is the AMC?
Oh, yeah, that's actually interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
it's Chinese owned, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
AMC theaters. It's kind of like, well, are people going to go back to the movies?
Right.
Is popcorn still going to be around, and they're going to have that clarified butter thing going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of tired of. There's no more Netflix to watch.
Exactly. Yes.
I think people are completely burned out of their Hulus and Rokus and Netflix and
Amazon Prime movies and stuff.
Yeah, Amazon Prime movies. I think they can't put them out fast enough. People just burned them all out. I think people are longing for the movie theater experience.
Yeah. I don't know. There's talk about them claiming bankruptcy. So I think this is.
We're not telling you to buy this.
No. This would be straight gamble. So
if
you take any portion of what should go into your Roth IRA and buy this, you're just an idiot.
Okay, this is
straight
pure hope right here. This is like this is a church stock.
Yeah, exactly.
This is.
Pray to Jesus when you buy this one, but at $2 a share,
it's $2. But hey, you can make if it goes back up to like $20-$30, like
you could get 10 or 15x.
10-15x on your money. It's $2 and like change right now.
$2.12 a share. Basically, what we needed to do on Monday or next week is go up to 230 or something, and then I think it's a buy because it'll create that nice bounce.
Again,
that
We're
double
not telling.
bottom.
Nobody's telling you to buy, though. Remember that. We're not.
No.
Suggesting
This is not financial advice right here. This is gambling and trying to hit snake eyes.
Yeah.
But if you do, I think it's probably more likely this thing is just going to take a shit and your money's going to be gone. So for you and I,
the other way. I mean,
I think really?
I think it's gonna. I think if the COVID, if we could just get back to the movie theaters, I mean, I think people are really longing for it. I don't know. I'm on the flip side. I think I kind of want to just throw some cash at it.
Yeah. So you and my average bet is between 1,000 to 1,500. I would say, right, is the average amount that we'll buy on one stock. For this, I'm not going to put any more than 500. Like, is that about what you're thinking, or?
No, I'm thinking like 1,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're going big. Okay. No. See, I was going to say 400, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be a cheapskate. I'll say 5.
No, I think I just want to see what it does. I'm just curious. So I don't do that often, but yeah, I think people are going to go back to the movie theater. If they claim bankruptcy, I don't know. I think I'd rather put my try that than already got some cruise lines, and that did okay. So I feel like I might be on a little bit of a gambling roll.
Okay, all right. You're more optimistic than me. Okay, maybe I'll up it to 650.
Well, I'll see you at 7. All right, that's
$7.
I think we should. I think we should just see and But again, like I said, that's not financial advice. Nobody's saying to buy that because it is because they could go bankrupt. But if they don't, we get out the lockdowns, people go out to movie theaters, that thing gets back up to like just $10, man. You've already 4 times your money.
Yeah. But the safest buys I think of the week are probably Duke, Walmart.
Yeah, let's get back to the safety zone.
Yeah, AWK is the safe one. And remember, you buy these, and regardless of what the stock price happens, never ever sell it. There we go.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
And remember, if anybody ever says God bless you, generally means they're broke.
Yes. You'll never hear a millionaire say that.
No. That's why they don't have bumper stickers on the back of their cars either. I've never seen too many bumper stickers on Porsches. I don't know. Have you?
Yeah. And if there's ever a 30-year-old male on a BMX bike smoking a cigarette, do not take financial advice from that man.
Yeah, I've generally kind of stay away from people like that. Yeah. Anybody over 30 shouldn't be on a BMX bike to start.
No. There's maybe 4 people in the world that can make a living doing tricks on those things, and everyone else is just a loser.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. A grown adult shouldn't be on like a children's bike.
On a children's BMX bike. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of, I see it time to time. I'm like, yep, stay away from that person. Just subconsciously, it's all programmed in.
Oh, I see it about 9 times a day. Cruise by in front of my fire station at work.
You're in that area that you're at. You probably have quite a bit of adults on BMX bikes.
Oh, I saw one yesterday.
Oh, so this is like a thing. So I wasn't just talking out of my ass.
No, this is real life. Yeah, I saw a guy on a little girl's pink BMX bike.
Oh, with
another BMX bike on the handlebars, and he's riding.
Oh, was riding the other person on the handlebars?
No. He had 2 bikes. He was riding one bike, and then he had another little kid's bike.
Oh, that means he stole that bike.
I'm sure he stole both of them. I doubt he went down and bought a little kid's BMX bike.
So he was riding the bike, and he was kind of steering with his other hand the little tiny pink bike.
Yeah. Well, it was resting on top of the handlebars of that bike, so he was holding it. And all he was missing was a shopping cart, that he was pulling from a rope behind him. That was the only thing that he would need.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a theft.
Oh yeah.
Definitely some theft, stealing a little girl's bike. That's pretty terrible. Yeah. So when I mentioned this to you, you didn't think I was crazy then. This was like something.
Oh no, this hit home. Yeah.
This really hit.
This is like literally a fact.
Yeah, this is a fact
of life. This is not an opinion. This is a fact.
This is some of the weird shit that goes on. I've just through my life, I've just noticed like people. Every single time I see a grown adult on like a children's bike, it's just always weird.
Yeah, that's not the guy you want to go like make friends with.
No, never generally is.
No. You
Well,
can smell them coming before you see them.
Yeah, you can usually smell them coming before they get there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely a thing. So know what to and not to do after listening here. Wow.
Everything from home buying to stocks to who to trust on a children's bike.
Yeah, and who to Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I wasn't crazy. So at least I'm just glad that somebody else notices that now. It's a thing.
Right on. Cool. Well, thank you for coming back on, Daniel. This was fun.
Yeah. No, I always thank you for having me. Hopefully, I was able to help somebody out today. So
yeah. I think we put out some good content. Hopefully we swayed a couple of people to go for 20% down instead of 10, or if it causes you, you may have to sacrifice a little bit. Maybe you can't afford the 4-bedroom, 3-bath. You could afford it under the 30-year note, but you can't under the 15. Well, can you settle for a 3+2 and then get a 15-year note? You will save so much money on the back end, and your home will be paid off sooner, and then you can get another one.
Yeah. I think also too, Steve, knowing what you're going to pay, this is how much I need to pay. This is where I'm at. You don't try to stretch. I just had this conversation with somebody actually was helping that they were trying to buy their first house, and they were kind of confused. I'm like, they didn't know. I'm like, you need to figure out what can you afford? And don't go out of that zone. Don't try to make it work. You got to stay within the realm of what you can afford, what your payment's going to be. You plan for your worst day. I think that's something that a lot of people I notice don't do is they don't sit down and be like, okay, I want to pay $2,000 or $25, whatever it is. And, that's your zone. Don't go over that, don't try to make it work. Cause what happens too, a lot of times is, you'll find something, this or something will happen. And then, the realtor, whoever it is, they're trying to stuff down a price on you. And, you just kind of need to stick to your guns a little bit as well, I think.
Yeah. I completely agree. Do the budget, find out what and if you're renting right now, let's say your rent is $1,000 a month, but you have an extra $500, then maybe you can afford a $1,500 a month payment. Well, you can save an extra $500 a month there by renting, and pinch your pennies and save up that 20%. And then when you do, get that down payment, and now your payment is $1,500, which you already know you can afford because you've been setting that aside every month. And that'll get you into your first home.
Yeah. And just, use just common sense. There's so much videos and information online. You can literally just punch things in now. I mean, just, you can get a lot of information. Don't try to rely on other people, and just, use common sense. What do they say? Common sense isn't so common.
Yeah.
So cool. Awesome, Steve. Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. And hopefully help somebody out there today.
Yes. Thanks for coming on, and thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
The most important thing to do first thing in the morning is get yourself in a powerful state. If you're in a great mood, you will produce great results. You will have a great day. The better your attitude, the better the results you produce.
80% of success is psychology, 20% is mechanics.
And if you simply go after that thing that you want, with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity. If neither cold poverty, famish, or gold, sickness or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want. Dogged and grim, you besiege and beset it. With the help of God, you'll get it. You have something special. You have greatness in you. You gotta be hungry.
Don't just sit there. Get your ass up and make something happen. Sometimes you just have to move. You're doing better than you think you are. Somebody needs to know today you're going to make it. Somebody needs to know today you're doing all right. You may not be what you ought to be, but you're not what you used to be. And you're going to get there by God's grace. Don't you give up. Don't you quit. And don't you keep putting yourself down. You're doing better than you think you are. I dare you
I dare you to walk your own path and work on you. Work on your dreams.
I will not leave without that goal. I will not leave without that dream. I will not leave this university until I'm successful. I will not leave this job. I will not leave this client. I will not leave this opportunity until I do this.
We're tired of this 60% you. We're tired of this crying you, this complaining you. We're tired of this furnishing. Greatness is in you. You are here.
Every single day, I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.